Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Lorelai Bayette and this is
Dr. Nancy De Andrade.
She is my mentor and I'm a mentor, and so we're here to share some knowledge and love. Okay, so today's topic is being self-full in your relationships. Have you ever gotten in a relationship and you forgot who you were? Your friends are trying to beat down your door, figuring out, where are you? Do you even exist? Then you start to feel like, do I even matter? He's neglecting me, or whatever the case. Your self-esteem starts to dwindle and your partner may complain, or maybe you're the complainer, that you're feeling a little suffocated. This is an example that Nancy showed me the other day, and I had to share it with you guys because it stuck with me in my mind, and I thought it was the perfect demonstration of what being self-full is and why it's so important. You won't want to miss this if you're in any relationship or even if you're dating, because we tend to lose ourselves.
Yeah. So you were asking me one time, like, how do I set my boundaries? How do I not feel overwhelmed? I need my space, but I want to be with this person 24/7. So what happens with all of that? And the way that I explained it was by glasses of water. So I have some water over here, and this I love this one actually, because if you can see, it has courage and gratitude and balance and body wisdom, trust, faith, grace, and self-love. I infuse the water with all of that, and the meaning for this is that this represents your self-esteem. This represents the internal tools that you have to cope with life. Anyway, two people meet, and each of them have their cup full of self-esteem, right? Cool. We're gonna call it water, but it's self-esteem, right?
So each person comes, this is you, this is your partner, and each one has amount of self-love and self-esteem in each cup.
Correct.
Okay.
And so what happens is very often one person does not take care of him or herself and becomes very needy. And so it's sort of like there's a hole underneath. Nothing can fulfill the person. So the person is constantly asking for more. So the partner goes and says, okay, I'll give you more, and fills up. Now the partner is a little bit lower in self-esteem or time or boundaries, but keeps giving to this person. Now this person might just not take care of herself or himself and throw it all away, right? And so what happens is, I'm empty. Now, in practical terms, what does that mean? What that means is there are things that fill us up, and we tend to look for the other person to fill those needs. I need to feel loved. I need to feel balanced. I need to feel accepted. I need to have courage. So we tend to lean on the other person to give us those things. And the other person gladly, I mean, they love us, so they will love to give us more. But the problem here is that as this person keeps giving you and giving you and giving you and giving you, that person becomes empty. Now there are ways to refill your glass, and that is by looking outside of your relationship for things that nurture you, things like sports or friendships or hobbies that you might have, or spirituality, church, things that make you feel alive and nurture you, reading books, attending classes, taking a challenge for yourself, things that build that self-esteem, that sense of self inside of you, to fill yourself up. Now when two people come, they're not coming to empty each other. They're actually coming to share the fullness of each other, so they're never empty. They're always full, they're always sharing. Now there will be a time when actually one person might have a little bit less, and they might need to rely on the partner. I'm not saying the partner will be like, no, go get your own water. You can depend on each other, but it's your responsibility to also nurture and seek things that nurture your well-being, that make you feel full. Now, what would happen if one of them doesn't take care of themselves and is relying on that one? And it's empty. After this person gets filled up, and this one keeps asking for more, and more and more and more, guess what's going to happen? This person's going to look for someone who can share.
Whoa. Plot twist.
No more a needy one. It's going to look for someone who's full. And what you see in practical terms, what you see is like, I have given everything to him or her. I have done so much. I spent countless hours dedicating my entire life for this person, and this is how he or she repays me? Like looking for that other B and going to that? The thing is that this other person has self-esteem, and that's attractive. Really, really attractive. A needy person, not attractive at all. And so when you don't have your own boundaries, when you are sacrificing your well-being to please somebody else, that's codependence. That is not self-esteem. That is not love. You need to love yourself first. You need to support yourself first. You need to love yourself first. That's interdependence. I love me. I am in charge and responsible to fulfill my own needs. And when I come with somebody, I am going to share that love that I have inside with that person who has love inside, who's the main attractiveness of that person is how much they love themselves, how secure they are of themselves.
Yeah, so they're coming from a plentiful place, it sounds like, where a lot of us, I see women, they're like, I give, like she said, so much, and he just takes. But really, you're there to take too. If you're criticizing them, that same thing applies to you, because you're giving, expecting something in return. So you guys are never really full, because that's an inside job.
Right.
So what you're saying is, you have to be in control of yourself. So I love this book, Why Men Love Bitches. Mm-hmm. And bitch stands for being in total control of herself. Yes. It's like, if you're finding out that, oh my God, why do guys like these kind of girls? Well, maybe because they have their own lives, they have their own plans, they have their own purpose, but they're still a good supportive woman when they spend time together. And when you spend that time together, the quality of that time is enriched. I know both ways, okay? I used to be very codependent. Mm-hmm. And I was either the one being sucked dry a lot of the time, or I was the one, or in my early 20s, I was the one like pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring. And if you're not making investments and you're just pouring in someone, and they're taking more out than they're giving, then it's easy for them to walk away because they don't feel like they're that invested. So it's like, you're doing all this work, your total focus is me, and my total focus is me. So now, yeah. And so what happens is, I see a lot, when you are emptying yourself out and you're spending too much time together, you run out of things to talk about. You run out of the polarity that attracted you guys to each other in the first place, because the masculine, feminine energy, and just you hanging out with your girls, him hanging out with the boys, and you start to become one. And so if you weren't attracted to yourself, like, of course you're attracted to yourself, but you weren't attracted to that person because they were you like the polarity, the gaps that they filled, and the things that that you were drawn to them about will cease to exist if you start neglecting yourself. And so if you start neglecting yourself, you know what happens after that. You get neglected.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't spend time together. The ideal situation is that you take care of you, and then you come home to someone who's like, oh my God, how was your day? Oh my God, my day was this. Instead of like, I didn't do anything today. I need you to fulfill my day. I need you to be my everything. Mm-hmm. That's not healthy at all. Mm-hmm. Depending on your well-being, to put it all on one person puts a burden on that person. It makes that person feel like, ugh, needy, no, go away. And it also destroys your self-esteem. You are not taking care of you, and you are your own responsibility. And so
it's a lose-lose.
Yeah, exactly.
Scary.
Now, yeah, so what is the balance? The balance is, I want to share this with my loved one, and this is special. You build things that are special between the two of you, and you also have your time with your girlfriends. You also have time with your family. You also, it's like we were born individuals. We weren't born married or with children. We were born as individuals. And very often when we go into a relationship, we forget that we're individuals. We forget that we used to go out with our friends. We forget that we used to take a class that we loved. We forget that we like to wake up early. And so what do? We start molding ourselves to the other person. Oh, well, he or she doesn't like to wake up early. I'll stay up late too. I'll wake up late too.
You guys, there's a beetle behind me if you're wondering why I look like Shrek over here. Oh my god, they're blind too. So sorry.
So the beetles have a sense around them, So anyway, you start molding yourself to the other person. So the other person doesn't wake up early, then you don't wake up early either. The other person eats this kind of things that are not good for you. You're like, well, I'll eat that too. The other person doesn't do anything. You stop going out with your friends. That is putting your individuality to the side and not taking care of yourself. You become a partner, but you're not really a partner. You're just leeching and attaching to that person as your life savior, and that's not healthy for you. You are an individual. Do the things that are individual and do the things as couples. Go out with other couples, do projects together, do a sport together, nurture each other, but don't forget that you're an individual as well. And then when you have children, don't forget that you are an individual and you're a couple too. When you have children, you can be a mother or a father, and you can be a couple too, and take time for that and be an individual as well, and nurture yourself all throughout.
It's really easy to lose yourself in someone because you love them and you get this high feeling and you're feeling like all these endorphins and you're just like, and before you know it, you're feeling resentment and you're feeling irritated and annoyed with the person because you're neglecting yourself. Then you guys start pointing the finger at each other, and then before you know it, you're done. You're split. That's the end of your relationship when it could have been fostered in a healthier way. You could have saved your relationship a lot of the times if you would have maintained your individuality, I think. And one thing I like that Nancy told me once, she said, you don't want to be codependent, you want to be independent. Because I know a lot of women out there that have a defense mechanism of this push-pull thing where, oh, they're being neglecting me, so I'm going to pull away so they come closer to me. And then when they come closer to me, or guys too, they come closer to me, there's this game that happens. And so she said, don't be codependent, don't be independent, be interdependent.
Yeah.
Can you explain the difference for them?
Yes, definitely. So codependent is, I am going to sacrifice everything that I like, my time, my energy, my efforts, my pleasure, to please this other person. But the truth is that you can't please the other person. You don't have that power. You don't have the power to make somebody happy or unhappy.
Mad.
Yeah. And so that person is responsible for their own feelings. Therefore, you're sacrificing everything that you have and you want to make that other person happy. And that person is not happy and it sees you unhappy, so you're both miserable. You're both unhappy. That's the codependence is, a lot of people think is related to alcohol and drugs, and it is in some ways, but it's also in relationships as well. Sacrificing what you want to please somebody else. That doesn't work. Ugh. Independence is, I'm standing on my own, I don't need anybody. And that's okay if you are building your own business, if you are working on a project that needs to be done by you and things like that. But when it comes to relationships, you want to be able to count on the other person. Not rely completely on the other person, but be able to count and have that trust, have that relationship while maintaining your independence. So it's interdependence, meaning you integrate, you depend on each other while you're standing on your own 2 feet.
Yeah, and you have different avenues, so you're interdependent. So your nourishment, your social nourishment comes from different people. Your friends you go out with, your friends you sit on the couch with, your friends you do this with, some activities you do alone. Some things you do with other people. You just find ways to enrich your life. And I can tell you firsthand that it is not a natural thing sometimes when you are undoing some patterns when you were young of being codependent. A lot of us that are codependent grew up that way, or we grew up with alcoholism or other addictions or whatever the case, it can feel like you're forcing yourself to love yourself. And so you do have to get out of your comfort zone, because once you slip and you lose yourself, it's like, oh no, like Nancy says, it's like when you're a train, when you get going, you're gone. But when you stop, it's like an uphill.
Yes.
And that's exactly what fulfilling the self feels like. At first it feels like, oh, I have to go work out, I have to go take care of me, I don't want to, because you're in this habit loop. But I strongly encourage, for the sake of you and your relationship, to have boundaries and to have activities that you do alone. And another thing that came up for me is the feeling that you have to trust yourself, and you have to trust your partner, and you have to trust the universe or God or source, because without those elements, without trust, it could feel very hard to want to let go. And that's a lot of the time why some people are codependent, because they do have that insecurity. So work to strengthen your relationship in that area so that you're not broken down so easily, because trust is a big reason why women are like, oh my God, if I do this, will they leave?
Yeah.
Or and vice versa.
Yeah. Or I have to do all of this stuff so they stay, and they really don't have to stay.
Mm-hmm.
They can actually leave, no problem. We're going to be talking about boundaries a little bit deeper, because that's a subject that I've seen all around. It's a little bit difficult to grasp. What does it mean to have boundaries? When do you have boundaries, and what are healthy boundaries? So that
Is
will be
part 2
for the workshop.
We're going to be teaching a lot about relationships, filling yourself up, being a goddess, really being connected, and just that attractive, radiant woman that you know that you can be. And we're going to be moving you towards that with every soul session.
Yeah.
So if you're in San Diego, come down, because it's going to be soulful conversations and uplifting vibrations. And if you're not there, we'll find a way to get it to you guys online. More details about that coming soon. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I really loved that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, me too. Thank you
I
for
hope that
having me.
helps. Yes. Bye, guys. When you're suffocating your partner, hey, what are you doing? I'm just kidding.